Hey Nathan, the Acura Integra is back.
It is, folks, and it is based mostly on a Civic Si.
Yep, it was revealed today, and in this video, we are going to go over everything you need to know. We're going to take an in-depth look at it. We're going to tell you all the nitty-gritty, and we're going to tell you the price. How much does it cost?
I'm going to tell you at the end of the video.
Oh, we're going to leave them hanging.
Yeah, there's a lot of information we want to get out there, and then we'll get to the price.
Well, did you know that this is the first Integra in the U.S. since the old car left way back in 2001?
Yes. And although that was a relatively popular car in the segment, it was a very popular car for Acura.
You know my wife owned one?
Did she really?
Yeah.
Some of my closest friends in high school had them as well.
All right, well, let's talk about styling, which I think is always the thing that people are most curious about when a new car comes out. It's actually almost identical to the prototype. So if you recall, we went and actually had a look at the prototype. It was in yellow.
Right.
Now they have, of course, done it up in blue, which I think actually is a much nicer color.
And this is the production version we're looking at too. And so at this camera angle with this particular color, it's a lot more presentable, I think, and not as polarizing.
All right, we're getting a 5-door liftback with a more dramatic look than the entry-level ILX sedan. Did you know that?
According to them, yes.
Yep. According to Acura. The design is also a little bit more practical than the sedan. Acura says it combines coupe-like profile because enthusiasts wanted a coupe with surprising flexibility, and that's in air quotes.
Okay, well, I can see the flexibility part is the fact that it's a hatchback, so you could fold down the seats and you have a lot more cargo volume.
So up front, you get a bold grille and thin row of LED lights with stylized running lights called the chicane. I think we're looking at it right there. I got to tell you, it's a little busy up front, wouldn't you say?
It is a little busy, but what they want to do is make it look like other Acura products, and so that's why it looks like that.
You are correct, sir.
Thank you.
I would say it looks like a baby RLX.
Ish, yeah.
No, TLX, sorry, TLX. My brain jumped the shark there.
With the X's and all that stuff. You know what, though? It looks like an RLX, too, because they're all, related.
Okay, inside, the Acura may look awfully familiar.
There's a reason for that.
Yeah, the steering wheel, infotainment screens, and HVAC control. Yep, it's all pretty much mirrors the brand's 11th generation Civic on which the new Integra is based. And that's really the key, right? This is, dare I say it, a cousin, a brother, a sister to the Civic.
I'd say kissing cousin.
Oh, I was not going to go there.
But they're very, very similar in many ways. But there are a couple of mechanical differences, and we'll hit that in a sec.
Yeah, so you can also get a 10.2-inch digital cluster like the higher spec Civics. Acura also brings in a 16-speaker ELS premium sound system, and you'll note on the interior they changed those little air vents, right? In the Civic, they're very pronounced. Here, it's a little bit different. What do you think of the interior?
The interior, well, it's very similar to the Civic, and I don't mind the Civic, so I don't mind this interior. It's a little bit more premium. They wanted it to look a little bit nicer with some of the trim components. The seats probably have, I would imagine, a more premium feel as well, but I haven't sat in it yet. So
yeah, they got rid of all the hard plastics, right?
Most of them, I would say, yeah.
So now wherever you touch, it's softer and a little bit more upscale, a little bit more luxurious.
Right.
But under the hood, dude, there's a big difference, and that is there is no difference.
It's
1.5 liter turbocharged engine,
right?
200 horsepower, 192 pound-foot of torque, same as the Civic Si.
Which I adore. I adore that power plant in the Civic Si.
Now, let's talk about the exhaust. Acura says there's a new coil-type exhaust, which adds an emotional exhaust sound, but they're also piping in sound through the speakers. So, depending on what mode you're in, it changes the sound. So it's a little bit confusing because part of it is real, but then part of it is augmented.
Augmented exhaust, and this is nothing new, guys. A lot of people have been doing this now. I'd say for about 5 or 6 years now. And I think what Acura is trying to do is they're trying to give you a little bit more excitement if you want it, and you can, based on your driving mode, you get more sound, and it's not necessarily exactly the sound that the exhaust is making, but that's what some people want.
So I guess with augmented sound, it's much easier to differentiate it from the SI.
From the inside,
yeah.
I honestly don't know from the outside how it's going to sound differently, with one exception. And you're going to hit this in a second. It deals with the transmission, so it's going to sound a lot different with a certain transmission.
So this is interesting. You get a 6-speed manual transmission matching the powertrain of the Honda Civic Si. But unlike the Civic Si, though, you also get a CVT on the base model, and it's a step CVT.
Yeah. So Honda makes a pretty decent CVT, as much as CVTs are not that much fun, but a lot of people out there want an automatic transmission. Your only choice for an automatic transmission is to get the continuously variable transmission, which is available with this. So basically, think of it as a Honda Civic Si with an automatic CVT and a hatchback, and you basically have the ingredients for this vehicle for the base models.
Yeah, but if you want the A-Spec, then you get, of course, the 6-speed manual.
Right.
And then all trims get more flexibility with drive modes. The tech package available on the A-Spec adds an individual drive mode settings, which lets you tailor the throttle response and steering feel to your liking. And then, of course, this differentiated from the Civic Si, you get adaptive dampers also come on the Integra, which you don't get on the Civic.
Yeah, and now if you take everything that this vehicle is giving you, which is a more luxurious cabin, adaptive suspension, other goodies.
Customizable.
Right, all this other stuff. Obviously a little bit more luxury, a little bit more tech, and a little bit more weight possibly. And remember, that's a big hatchback in the back. So it's going to drive differently than the Civic Si, I suspect.
Well, let's talk about the A-Spec, Nathan. In that trim, you get 18-inch wheels, gloss black window trim for a sportier look.
Which is what we're looking at here. That is
Exactly.
actually the A-Spec, which does look decent from this angle.
Now, there's also a tech package, adds wireless charging and a 9-inch infotainment screen to replace a 7-inch unit in the standard model. You also get a heads-up display, Amazon Alexa compatibility, LED ambient interior lighting, puddle lights, front and rear parking sensors, the 16-speaker ELS sound system. Stock one gets 8 speakers, so double. That's good. And adaptive damping, which we have discussed,
Right.
which is cool. You know, it's always fun to be able to change the drive mode. The question, of course, is how much is a drive? You know, in the old day, I had a 300ZX twin turbo, and it had like normal, sport, and I think it was comfort, right? And in sport, it would knock your teeth out, and in comfort, it would wallow down the road like an old Cadillac.
Right.
So you kept it a normal. So the question, of course, is modern systems have gotten better. Is this actually more of like a track-focused system, you know, that lets you really dial it up to, you know, not just a softer ride, but actually better handling?
That's a good question. I guess we'll have to wait until we drive it to find out. I would imagine, though, I've driven other Acura vehicles that have had adaptive suspension or the equivalent of that, and they've been pretty decent.
All right. Acura does bring a premium-looking interior, so you get synthetic leather.
Yeah.
That's a big thing nowadays.
Yeah, synthetic leather as opposed to non-synthetic leather, which moves.
To cow leather.
Right.
Where it moves, yeah. Micro suede inserts as part of the tech package. And, of course, different interior color options, ebony, red, or white orchid.
Oh, wow.
You know that?
Okay.
All right, so let's talk about the competition. What does this compete with, Nathan?
Well, you could say that there are other somewhat luxury vehicles in this class that it does compete with front-wheel drive.
Yep.
But there's not a lot of them. So
the Golf GTI, maybe?
the Golf GTI would compete with this, but the
Jetta GLI?
The Jetta GLI might compete with this as well. Once again, those I think are slightly lower in terms of the pecking order, in terms of luxury. So, believe it or not, your absolute base model BMW 2, maybe possible.
Yeah, but wait till we get to the price.
Okay, yeah, that's right. You
So
got the price.
Hyundai Elantra N, maybe?
Maybe the Elantra N.
The Subaru WRX.
The WRX all-wheel drive, a lot more power, so I don't know about that. But there are some other vehicles out there. But essentially speaking, you know, you are talking about an entry-level luxury vehicle. That's what they want you to at least think.
You know what it competes with directly? The Civic Si.
Yes, it does. Yes, it's its cousin, kissing, as I said. But keep in mind, you know, we have not had a chance to actually go inside the vehicle or compare them side by side, which would be an interesting comparison, I think.
Yeah, Civic Si versus, I'm sure
right.
I would love that.
Well, no, but seriously, think about it, because there could be a major difference between the two, but you really don't know until you jump in one and the other. And we've had that type of thing before, so maybe that's something worth thinking about in the future.
We could do a video series called This or That.
Gee, I wonder where that sounds familiar.
I think we did that already.
Yeah, maybe. So how about we wrap this up with pricing, because I'm sure you guys are interested.
How much does it cost, Nathan?
$30,000. Congratulations.
Dude, that is a deal.
That is actually a really good deal, because the Civic Si really does come up to about between $28,000 and $29,000. And so you're getting more luxury and everything else with this vehicle, plus more utility. The big question is, for those people out there who are interested in this vehicle, did you want the Civic Si to begin with?
Well, no. You know what the big question is? How much will dealers mark it up? They're marking up BRZs, dude.
Yeah, I know.
Toyota 86s are marking up. 5 to 10K. How much is this bad boy going to get marked up?
It really depends on demand, doesn't it? Because if people just aren't really interested in it, they're not going to mark it up.
There are no cars available, so any car has demand.
Well, they did not mention in the press release exactly how many vehicles they'll have available at the time of its official release, so it's entirely possible that they may have enough in reserves to actually counter the desire. Other car companies
dealers to make more money, really?
Yeah. Well, hopefully we're going to see the end of the dealer markup in the near future, but I doubt it.
Anyway, there you have it, guys. It's official. We've got a new Integra in the world, which is great news.
Yeah.
I think now if you're out there shopping for when we originally drove these cars when we were young, or when I was young, these were small cars. Now they're actually pretty good sized cars.
Oh my God, this thing is like 4 inches wider. I mean, it's so much bigger in every dimension. But maybe it brings back the character of the idea of the Integra, which was to make a more premium Honda, right?
Yep.
In that class. So perhaps that's the case. I am looking forward to driving it. I think it looks a lot better in blue than yellow.
I agree.
So let's see what happens in the near future.
And hey guys, if you want to stay up to date on all the breaking news, just go to tfl-studios.com where you can see all of our videos, our news, websites, our podcasts. You can actually download it to your phone as a little web app, and then you'll be in the know on all of the newest and greatest both car and truck news. All right, see you next time. Thanks.
See ya.
Hey guys, welcome to Tumbleweed Ranch, and in this new series we're calling Taming Tumbleweed. We're going to be a bunch of little kids with big boy toys, and that of course includes things like skid steers, big old trucks, and much more, because what we have to do is take this ranch and convert it into a functioning off-road test course along with everything that entails. So that's coming up very soon, but let's give you a little sneak peek of what we've been up to before we start airing the series. Hey David, hold up a sec. So what are you doing back there?
I'm trying to get used to these controls. My muscle memory is just completely off because I have 2 joysticks and it just operates a little different. So it's kind of a little bit stressful, actually.
Well, what are we doing here? Why are we dumping rock on rock?
Well, because this rock, even though it's better than just dirt, it's not real compacted, and so when it gets wet,
it gets muddy.
It gets muddy.
Yeah.
So this is going to compact. This is recycled asphalt, so it's still got a little oil in it from when it was originally laid as a road. So it'll pack down hard, and it'll be a lot less muddy on your cars when you bring them into the garage. And
when we bring them out here to test,
it'll be easier to keep them clean.
So this is kind of just phase 1, right? We're also going to be building a barn. We're going to be doing some major reconstruction up here at the ranch.
Right, yeah.
And thank you for your help.
Hey, I'm glad to be here. It's fun to be working on equipment and especially being outside.
And do I get to play with this too?
Oh yeah, you want in again?
No. So as part of Tumbleweed, that's the problem. As part of Tumbleweed Ranch, we're of course going to build an off-road testing course. So when we do our off-road testing, we've got a perfect course to compare vehicles. And we're gonna do things like take Nathan's Crack and make it into an obstacle. We're gonna take Sniper Hill and make it into a climbing course. And of course, we're gonna take Andre's Pit and make it a very difficult mud challenge. This is all gonna get well leveled so that we can take, not spray paint, but actual heavy equipment in here and build a barn, which is gonna be, well, you'll see. That's part of the series. You'll see us actually erecting a barn, because that is what David is all about. He's an expert at pole barns. So we're not going to need an animal pen anymore, because the only wild animals on Tumbleweed Ranch are going to be Mustangs and Broncos. Right, maybe not Mustangs, but definitely Broncos. So coming soon, come along, join us on this journey as we tame Tumbleweed.